Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca. I am so sorry it has been so long since I posted a video. I don't even know when the last one was. I didn't check. Sorry. It's been busy. Very, very busy. I had another baby a year ago. So I'm down to 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old boy and a 1-year-old little girl. So my life is very hectic. I also, unfortunately, have been diagnosed with more health issues compared to my last video. I have been on different medications. I currently take 19 pills a day. Well, that's including Epidiolex, which is a CBD oil. That's a lot of medication for one person. And I mean, that is split between morning and night, but that is still 19 pills a day. I've never been on that many pills, ever. When I first was diagnosed with epilepsy, and this was 12 years ago, I was only on one medication, and that would be Lamictal, or lamotrigine. I had seizures once every 6 months. I mean, even though I was having grand mal seizures, it was still literally down to the day every 6 months. Just one. And I unfortunately had to leave that neurologist because he retired. I went to a different neurologist, and this neurologist had diagnosed me with something else, even though I was currently pretty stable. That doctor ended up putting me on a couple more medications, thinking that that would completely clear it up, even though I was perfectly happy. I mean, I was only a teenager. I didn't know much about it to begin with. But when he put me on all that extra medication, we noticed I was having more seizures. I was diagnosed with other seizure disorders. I have been oh my gosh, I'm stuttering now. I have got put on more and more medication. I've been to 5 or 6 different neurologists. Each one ends up switching up my medication and pretty much adding another one. And it's been trial and error, of course, as most epilepsy is. I was diagnosed with, I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes. I don't, otherwise I forget. I was diagnosed with intractable generalized idiopathic epilepsy, along with absent seizures and myoclonic jerks. The intractable generalized idiopathic epilepsy means that it is drug resistant. The medication doesn't work when it comes to me. They have tried every medication so far that would be available for my type of epilepsy. None have worked. I have not been able to be stable. I pretty much have the opposite effect and either have more seizures or I have pretty bad side effects. I have been lowering my medication, which I know is not safe. I'm not telling anyone to do that. Please don't try that. Talk to your neurologist first. I only did it because I was just not feeling right. I was not okay. My neurologist was just not working with me correctly, and I was voicing my opinion, and she wasn't listening. I ended up just tapering myself down off of one medication. I ended up feeling a lot better after that. She wasn't very happy with me for doing it, but she understood and eventually just agreed that I don't take that medication anymore. So we ended up trying another medication, which leads to the 19 that I'm on. Nothing has worked. I even have a VNS implant. I currently still have it. It is not on because it was causing bad side effects, and it is very painful. I haven't had it removed yet. I've had it in me for 4 years, I think, and nothing has worked. We have officially resorted to trying the keto diet. And I don't know if anyone has tried that with epilepsy, but it is modified Atkins diet. I think that's what it is. Yeah. And that's a ketogenic diet. It involves eating more fats, reducing your carbs so that your body produces ketones. That makes your body, instead of running off of carbs and sugar, your body would run off of just fat energy. When I first started keto, I was 109 pounds. There was no fat to burn when it came to getting ketones. I've been trying the keto diet. I have to do testing to see if my ketone levels are up. Unfortunately, over the past 2 months, well, going on 3 months, my ketone levels have not been there. I eat a lot of fat stuff now, even though I never used to. I'm more of like a fruit vegetable kind of person. I'm not like vegan or vegetarian. I'll eat whatever. I didn't really like fatty foods. And now that's kind of what I'm stuck with, and I have to keep track of carbs, which is I can only have up to 20 carbs a day. That's really hard to count. It's expensive to get food that is, for my type of diet. And we did notice that my anxiety and depression had got worse when I started the keto diet. And I'm still on the keto diet. I haven't really been doing it anymore just because depression and anxiety was heightening for me. I was getting more and more anxious and stressed because I realized I couldn't keep track. I could keep track of the carbs. I couldn't keep track of just what to make or how to make certain foods. I'd be skipping meals. I was just running out of options. I didn't know what to do. They didn't really tell me. And unfortunately, keto diet really didn't work out for me. I did try it, full on tried it, for a solid 2.5 months. This is month 3, and I have kind of stopped. Maybe I should give it longer and tried, but it's just a lot. I was losing more weight, and I can't afford to lose any more weight. I will get sickly, and not fun. I have a long list of things I've been diagnosed with since being diagnosed with epilepsy 12 years ago. I thought it was just weird, just a tad weird, that once I was diagnosed with epilepsy, all of these health problems just started happening. And I know that it could be kind of a domino effect. Once I started the medication, it caused side effects, which caused all these issues, maybe. We don't know. But things have been getting worse. I forgot that. But things have gotten worse. I haven't been feeling good. I haven't had a grand mal in a week or 2. It was 2 weeks. I did increase in grand mal seizures. I went all the way to every week. 1 a week. Sometimes 2, kind of depend. I have absent seizures daily. We did notice that the myoclonic jerks started once I started keto. I started keto in April, and I noticed that I would kind of just randomly make a twitching motion that I couldn't control, and like it was happening a lot. And they thought at first, oh, you need magnesium or, this or that, and that would help. Well, I've been taking stuff and nothing's been helping. And now they think that I might have myoclonic. So, just another thing that I need. I went to a conference last month, and I just learned a lot about epilepsy, actually, just by going to these conferences. And I do recommend people with epilepsy or people who care for someone who has epilepsy or other disorders, find conferences or like learning events that happen. Find it around you and just attend them. I mean, I attended it over computer, so I just watched it, and it was like an all-day thing. But I attended it. I learned more about the epilepsy than I have in the past 12 years that I've had it. I mean, it was very interesting. It helped a lot. I think that I will be attending more of these in the future just because I feel like the more I'm informed, the more I can maybe stand up for myself, make more, just voice my opinion instead of letting these neurologists treat me like a guinea pig. They have been. My current neurologist, I will not say her name just because, but she technically works for a school. She is, works with the college, so she's into collecting data and kind of testing things out here and there. She, of course, has done that with me. The whole time I've been her patient, which has been 6 years, I have been nothing but a guinea pig. She will try a random medication. She'll be like, oh, this is a trial medication. And I usually am not okay with that, and I will voice that, but she immediately is like, it could work, and this and that. And she just kind of gives me these whole speeches, and I end up giving in and trying it. Doesn't work. And then she kind of gets frustrated with me, acting kind of like it was my fault. But I think it's just because I have, like, medication doesn't work for my type of epilepsy. She's been throwing drugs at me since I've been her patient, and she documents what happened to me, what side effects I have, and she even featured me in a magazine or book. I think it was a book that she wrote. She didn't mention my name, but she had mentioned all the details about me. She had mentioned like the different medication I was on. She mentioned like the health conditions I have and how long, just all the details about my condition. And this was when I was actually pregnant at the time. She had tried a medication that had never been tried with a pregnant woman. I was the first, and she documented everything that happened during my pregnancy. I did end up having the baby. It's actually have been on that medication with both of my kids. The only problem is I think it kind of caused a developmental problem with them. She doesn't think so, but I mean, what are the odds? Both of them kind of have the same thing going on, and I've been on that medication. They did end up telling me and my neurologist, the people who had, made that medication, they had said it, don't take it when you're pregnant, and she had me continue to take it. I had a lot of seizures during my pregnancies. I mean, that could have resulted in a lot of issues, not only for me, but obviously for the baby. Thankfully, I would get medical attention every single time. Unfortunately, those were weekly too at the time. And I mean, things are really bad. And so that's actually I have a little list over here of all of my issues, as I'll call them. But I actually was diagnosed with epilepsy complications during pregnancy. So they're thinking that I would have, if I was to have another baby, I would have seizures that whole pregnancy, or at least have medical issues, which happened in the last two. I am on and off about having another child in the future. I guess I'll see how things go. But right now, where things are at and how, like, my osteoporosis has gotten worse, anxiety, depression, like, just, breaking bones and just all sorts of stuff. I've just been kind of hesitant to even think about having another child at this point. I mean, I have to take care of 2 children as it is, and that's a lot of work. But we'll see what the future holds. Maybe I'll have another child, but that won't be for a while. But back to that conference, because I got distracted as usual. Most of the conference was about SUDEP, or sudden unexplained death in epilepsy. You gotta look at my notes, sorry. So 35% are intractable to current available medications. So that means they are resistant to the medication. And those sleep disturbances are up to 10 to 40%. Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. 17 to 28% of people with epilepsy have daytime sleepiness. Yet I'm sure a lot of people have daytime sleepiness regardless of epilepsy or not. What do we got going on? Oh, so sorry, I really should have read this first. But 70% of SUDEP cases were during sleeping, and 15% of those were when they were sleep deprived, which always scares me because I have sleep deprivation from my insomnia, and it just terrifies me. I mean, it can happen to anyone with epilepsy. You could die in your sleep, and it is a scary thing to think about, especially now that I have 2 children. I don't want to leave them. And listening to that conference really scared me. And the more I'm reading this, I get more anxious because the seizures would usually happen lasted 1 hour before death. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes, but I guess they don't really make sense. So anxiety meds can cause sleep issues or insomnia, which I do take an anxiety med currently. So I guess that actually would make it up to 20 medications a day. I forgot about that one. So yeah, that's just sad. So most SUDEP cases happen before REM sleep, which is usually when you go into that deep sleep. So usually it's kind of just, you're closing your eyes, you're kind of drifting off. Usually happens then, they said. They did mention in the conference that, I mean, you would assume that SUDEP would happen when a person is sleeping on their back. Because you'd think that they would be like, choking on like saliva or whatever, or gasping for air, and they just passed away in their sleep. That's not the case, actually. Most people with epilepsy die of SUDEP when they're sleeping on their stomachs. This is because instead of being facing up where you can still get, the air, you'd be on your stomach and you might accidentally suffocate yourself, which is very scary. I usually don't sleep on my stomach. I'm more of a back or side sleeper. But just knowing that if I were to flip on my stomach, I might not wake up again. Then again, it can happen anytime during the day. It could happen, it just mostly happens when you're sleeping. And, oh man, and people with uncontrolled epilepsy, or people who just, the drugs don't work, or any type of therapy such as VNS or RNS or the, DBS, a lot of those, if they don't work, you have a very much higher chance of passing away from SUDEP compared to someone who has their seizures controlled because they're not having as many seizures as a person who's not controlled. I have that constant fear every day. I'm scared to go to bed at night. I mean, that probably doesn't help my insomnia. Definitely doesn't help with my anxiety and stuff, but it is something to think about. It is something that I think caregivers should know, because they should keep an eye on someone with epilepsy when they're sleeping. You should keep an eye on them, maybe try to keep them on their back or on their side, mostly on their side, I would suggest, personally. But, I mean, obviously you can't stay there all night and just watch them. That's kind of weird. One of my biggest suggestions, and some insurances will cover it, is, let me hear this. The Embrace watch. Mine's not lighting up right now, but it's got a nice little heart there. And this usually, if I can get it right, yeah, lights up and actually tells you the time. But it is a nice watch, technically, but it is called the Embrace 2, or Empatica. A neurologist actually has to give you a prescription for this. That's how high-tech it is, I guess. But it does detect seizure activity, which is very nice, because once it detects a seizure happening, it notifies, like, whoever you have as caregivers. It'll call them, it'll text them, and it will alert them that, hey, this person needs your help, and they're having a seizure, and, just get to them. And it also shares your location, and it's a really nice thing to have. It's peace of mind. I'm not as worried when I'm wearing it. I mean, obviously I do have to take it off sometimes to charge it, but I suggest it for those with uncontrolled epilepsy. It has been a lifesaver, because I've had seizures and it has notified, people, and they have come to help me. And I mean, I suggest it. I highly do. I mean, obviously it is pretty expensive, so I would look into insurances, or I don't even know. I think it's a nice thing to have. I know there's other watches out there or other devices that are similar to it. I don't know what those are like, but I mean, I suggest having something. It's very nice, peace of mind for everyone. Back to the SUDEP, though, that I was reading. Oh yeah. So there was a thing that was mentioned in this conference that wasn't SUDEP related, which mostly the conference was. But this one was 60 to 80% of patients became seizure-free after having surgery. And there are different kinds of surgery. Obviously, as I was saying, there is like the RNS, which is the stimulator on the side. There is the DBS, which is like straight into your brain. And then the VNS, which is right here, and it has the like a little cord that runs up and gives you a little shock. But they have other ones apparently that I never even have heard of. Like they have a MRI that has a guided laser, which is called, oh my gosh, bear with me, interstitial therapy. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But I guess it's very helpful in temporal lobe epilepsy, which is awesome. I really hope it does help a lot of patients. I guess, and according to this, 40 to 50% may have reductions in seizures after having a VNS implant. I was told other percentages when I went to get mine in. I was told, what was like 70% of people end up seizure-free, and I'm the unlucky 30% who it just didn't do anything for, which is unfortunate, but I gave it a go. I know my neurologist really wants me to get more surgery, but I am unwilling to do any more surgery. I apologize, that is my son. I don't want to do any more surgery. Not when I have kids. I have family. I have something to live for. Honestly, and this is going to sound very depressing, but if I didn't have children, I would probably just do it. I wouldn't care. At this point, depression really has overtaken everything, and my kids are what I live for. They're what keeps me going every day. If I didn't have them, I don't even know where I'd be in life, honestly. I am concerned that I wouldn't even be here. I have these new auras too, called what I call flash forwards. They're definitely weird. My neurologist has never heard of anything like this happening, but I don't know if you've ever seen the show That's So Raven, where she's a psychic. It's kind of like that. I'll have these flash forwards type auras. I'll have them multiple times a day. It is very scary. I mean, it'll just be me kind of zoning out and kind of, seeing myself out of body type experience, kind of most auras are. But it's an out of body experience, but when I'm looking, I'm not looking at myself. I'm not seeing myself. I'm seeing my family live without me. Like, I'm no longer in it. And I have those multiple times a day. Just my life with me not in it. So technically not even my life, it's their lives. It's a very scary thing that happens, constantly having them. So my depression and anxiety heightens even more, and the more stressed I am, the more prone to seizures I am. And unfortunately, that has been the case, where I will get so stressed out from just, getting overworked with the kids, or just being overtired and thinking about the seizures and the flash forwards happening, I end up having seizures. It's just one of those things, like, what do I do at this point? What do I do? I've tried, everything that I can think of. I've tried everything my neurologist can think of. And it's just a really sad thing. And I wanted to know if anyone else was feeling this way, if anyone else had something similar. I would, oh my gosh, I would really love to talk to someone who has something similar like this. I don't know anyone who has anything like this. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, I have, this and this wrong with me, and I have a lot of problems. No, I'm not trying to be like that. I am saying I have a lot of medical issues. I need the help. I need someone to talk to. And at this point, these YouTube videos are gonna be what get me, the help and make me feel like I'm voicing my opinion and just getting the word out there. I will be compiling some more things about SUDEP, the other types of epilepsy, the surgeries, just like anything I can think of that has to do with epilepsy. I will compile a good amount of notes. I will read them ahead of time. And hopefully I can make a better video than this one, because this one is kind of a rough draft, we'll call it. But I hope all of you with epilepsy, I hope you be seizure free or just don't have any seizures for a long time. I hope you have peace, are happy, just can live your lives. I really wish that for everyone. And for those who are caregivers, I highly suggest that you look into, groups to learn how to take care of someone with epilepsy. Maybe do some conferences that have little pointers and tips about, how to help someone cope with epilepsy, or like SUDEP, to learn more about it. Highly recommend all of that. Highly recommend that you attend these conferences, these little group meetings, just anything. I think it is very good that everyone, and even those without epilepsy or the caregivers, I think everyone needs to be everyone needs to know about epilepsy, needs to know that there's no cure. There needs to be a cure that needs to be found. And I mean, the 1 in 26 people have epilepsy. 1 out of 26 people. That's actually a lot. And I mean, it has no cure. A lot of people have uncontrolled epilepsy, are on all these meds, and nothing works. We need to find some way to get it under control, need to find a cure, need to help those with epilepsy. It is a very big subject, yet a subject that people don't know about. We need to acknowledge that it exists. It is more common than a lot of other illnesses. People just don't know about it. And I think people need to be alerted about epilepsy, need to be taught how to maybe, care for someone who has epilepsy. Like if you saw someone fall and have a seizure on the street, a lot of people aren't going to know what to do. A lot of people are just going to, oh, I'll call an ambulance and, hopefully they'll talk me through it, or, not even know what to do. I think people just need to know. Lay the person on their side. Don't put anything in their mouth. Don't. That is more likely to get them to choke. You can't choke on your tongue. Don't worry about the person having a seizure choking on their tongue. It's not going to happen. Don't put anything in their mouth unless there is a rescue medication, which do exist. I have taken them before. Unless the seizure is lasting a very long time. There is, I know there's drops that you can just, kind of put it in their mouth. Obviously, it'll go in them. Otherwise, they have rescue medication where you just slip it under their tongue and it'll dissolve, which is the kind I have. Definitely just, I know it's really hard, but try to time the seizure. You want to make sure that it doesn't, obviously you don't want it to go on long, But if it goes over 5 minutes, that's when you have to be very concerned. This person could die. This is causing them brain damage. When you have a seizure, you can't get air. Like, you're gasping for air. It is hard. Your brain is just like shutting down, having a meltdown. It is a computer rebooting. And all these little neurons firing, and it's a lot. Your whole body just can't handle it. And it is amazing what the human body can do. It is also unfortunate what the human body can do. I just think that people need to be educated on seizures. They need to be educated on helping people with it, coping mechanisms. Overall, I just think that people need to be educated about like epilepsy, and not just epilepsy. I'm saying other medical conditions too. There's like diabetes or allergies. I know a lot of people, oh, you need an insulin shot. A lot of people don't even know how to do that, or don't even know about, oh, this person's having an asthma attack. A lot of people just assume, oh, well, just grab your inhaler. Not the case. There's a lot of medical conditions out there that people don't know how to handle, and I think need to be educated about, especially those who know someone or have like a family member. I think they need to know the most on how to care for that person. We need help. I'm not saying like we as in like people with medical conditions in general. I'm saying like everyone. Like people with medical conditions, yeah, we do need help. Pretty much on a daily basis. But people who are perfectly like, you don't have major medical conditions, I still feel like you need help being educated. And that is a big thing for me. Is I'm going to start making more videos to educate everyone on not only epilepsy, but other disorders, and how to care for that person, how to take care of not only just helping them out through the day, but helping them post seizure. Like, I'm knocked out for like 20 or so minutes. I'm not conscious. So, there's times where you kind of need to help the person. And it's okay to need help. Don't feel bad, and don't feel like a burden. If you need help, you need help. Get the help. Don't suffer through it. I do it all the time. I try to just, it's my problem and I can do it myself and this and that, when in reality, I do need help. Obviously, I can't, care for myself after a seizure. Not only do I not know what happened, but usually most of the time, I'll have fallen on the ground and knocked myself out. And then I have, head pain, and I sometimes like black and blue eyes, cuts, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I need help. And getting that help has done wonders for me, and it has made things easier with my condition. Working on, small things, hoping to build it up, kind of like a little snowball effect. I am trying my hardest on finding ways to, not cure it. I have no idea where to even begin with that. But maybe to just lessen the seizures. I need to find a way to do that. I know medication isn't always the answer. Lessening stress might help a lot. I don't know. I have not really tried it because every day is a struggle. But I'm going to start trying new things. I'm going to do more research. I think everyone should start doing it too. Just get more info. Be more informed about all of the details of your medical condition. I We'll make more videos, though. I probably should cut this one because I see it is very long. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Stay seizure free, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you, my little warriors.